Hello everybody, welcome back to another Teppen video. This time our Devo Trigger is now a non-budget version of this deck, so without further ado, Iowa, thanks again for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, buddy. Alright, let's get this going on the way. So, we've got some different changes to this deck, and I recently crafted a legendary because I was sick of tired waiting trying to pull it, so whatever. It was worth it. Anyway, so starting off with, we have Foresight in this deck, which we touched on already in the previous deck, so there's nothing needed really more to say on that one. Next up is one of the newer cards from Day and Nightmares, New Generation Reploids. This is a pretty cool card.
Yeah, so with New Generation Reploid, it's the same reason why we ran Jackpot. And there's a big difference between this deck and then the last deck that we just covered from the budget version of Dante, and that is the Jackpot and then switch over to New Generation Reploid. So definitely you don't want, a bunch of 1 MP cards in your deck. In fact, you only probably want 6 of them. So we have the 6 and we chose Foresight and then we chose New Generation Reploids. Now, the reason why New Generation Reploids is better than Jackpot is because you can trigger New Generation Reploids without any condition, right? You can play it from your hand at any point of the game, and then cycle, and then get that Resonate trigger. That's what we use it for. But with Jackpot, Jackpot does have a condition, and that is your opponent having a unit. If your opponent does not have a unit on the board, you cannot use Jackpot, you cannot cycle, and it can sometimes lead to very awkward situations for us Resonate players. New Generation Reploids ignores that, and then we can use it to cycle and then get through the deck so that we can keep up in the game.
Yeah, so New Generation Reploids is a nice card. It's just whenever you've explored it, basically duplicates that explore in your X pocket. So you can't, basically, from my understanding, and if I got this right, you basically combo this with Ada Wong and multiply stealth a lot, because Ada Wong has actually changed up to the point that there's only just one in this deck now. So we'll get there eventually. So next up is Crystal Hunter. We still have in here. It's just because Crystal Hunter, it's good. Bolting for 5 seconds. We still have hook shots in here. Giving flight always comes in handy. Next addition is Hidden Intent.
Yes, so Hidden Intent is it's an epic rare, right? So that's why we didn't see it in the last build.
It's an epic one, yeah.
Is kind of crazy. In Yu-Gi-Oh terms, it would be called Solemn Judgment, right?
Yes,
so,
you're thinking of Solemn Judgment.
Yeah, so Solemn Judgment is a card that pays like what, half of your life or something ridiculous.
You have to
negate
pay
an activation.
You have to pay 2,000 or half. It's one of the two, but I'm pretty sure it's half.
It's a large cost.
Yeah.
So the same thing with Hidden Intent. Hidden Intent is a card where you have it in your hand. You can negate a 5 cost or lower action that your opponent is playing, but you have to pay half your life. Rounded, I believe rounded down, so that way you get to save some life. If you're taxing your health, it's rounded down.
You only really want to run one of this. I mean, originally you had 3 in this deck, but you've cut it down to 2. I mean, it's a good card, but half your life, you got to choose wisely for what card you're negating.
Yes.
But damn, it's effective as hell. It can definitely help you out. Next up, we have from Day and Nightmares as well, Monstrous Virus.
Yes, so Monstrous Virus is a card from Day of Nightmares. It's a legendary. When it first came out, a lot of people didn't know how they feel about it. So what it does is when you trigger it for 30 seconds, you cannot lose the game essentially. Besides having the timeout thing happen, which you probably would not trigger Monstrous Virus in the middle of it, if it's unfavorable to you.
Yeah, no.
But essentially, you cannot die from damage. So It allows you to let your opponents hit you a bunch, and then you're just not caring about your health total. The only thing you're really watching is the in-game timer, which depending on where you played Monstrous Virus, it doesn't matter anymore, or it does matter.
Yeah.
And then you also have a new timer, which is the 30 seconds. As soon as that 30 seconds is up and you did not win the game, if you did not kill your opponent, you lose.
Yeah. It's a risk it for the biscuit kind of card.
Yes.
I have seen this being played when people do play it. They dropped it like 2 minutes 32 into the game. Like they're just using it to help stall for time to then set up other plays and trying to kill within the 30-second time slot.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a very, very... you got to be careful when using this card. I mean, the idea is... Yeah, originally was you were waiting till after 30 seconds, and then you play it, and then your opponent really can't do anything because you're going to win. Just because, yeah, 30 seconds. But damn, this was a fun card to run. I guess for this deck, when would you be trying to utilize Monstrous Virus?
Monstrous Virus, you can win with it in two ways, but for the second one, it's not really relevant to Dante. So the first way you would use it is, number one, if you're losing the game. If you are losing the game, or you are about to die, that's when you pop it. So you can buy yourself another 30 seconds, and all of a sudden it is a game of, I need to kill my opponent in 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And then your opponent has to live for 30 seconds. That's their game plan, because they can't kill you now. They have to wait out that timer. The second way to use it is using it with only 29 seconds left on the clock. So the reason why you would do that is because there's only 29 seconds left on the clock, and then you have this 30-second card to trigger. What'll happen is you get to keep your life, and if you have more life than your opponent, and your opponent's like keep attacking to you while you have Monstrous Virus up, your health total will never go down.
Yeah.
Your opponent, if they have lower life than you, then they need to gain health somehow. Because as soon as the timer is out for the 29 seconds up on the timer, what'll happen is your opponent will lose due to a time up.
Yep.
Time up will only favor the player with the same health. So if it's the same health player, higher health player, the higher health player will win, and then the lower health player will lose. However, if it's a same health, then it becomes a actual tie, and then both players lose the game.
Oh, that's never happened, but okay.
Yeah.
I've never had an actual tie before, but okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Both players lose. That kind of sucks, but yeah. Good card. Nice card. So, Ada Wong, like I said, is here still, but this time we only run one of her now. For reasons I think we'll get into more explaining soon. After that, we have 2 Unforseen Interference, so we still keep Unseen Interference because Unseen Interference, it's good. Next up is then one of the newer cards in here. From original set, Darkhold.
Yeah, so we actually had a budget option for Darkhold. It was Irresistible Pleasure.
Yep.
But Darkhold is the original way that you want to halt your opponent's units, because it does the job for only 3 MP instead of 4 MP, which is very effective, and it can target any card.
Yep.
So that's why we run 3 of them.
That's why it's an epic card as well, guys. It's a great card. For 3 cost for 13 seconds. Okay. Another OG card is Devil Trigger.
Yes, so Devil Trigger is a legendary from the core set. What it does is it gives specifically, and I'm going to say this with emphasis, I should actually put emphasis on another card. So with Devil Trigger, you can only place this card on a purple unit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
A friendly purple unit. The reason why I mention this is because Brainwash allows you to steal units, and then sometimes players think like, oh, I can place Devil Trigger on this, this green unit that they stole, but I can't.
Yeah.
Right? So what happens is you give a unit agility and flight, which makes it really deadly, because flight means unblockable, and then agility means that it deals pretty much double its attack in the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Because it cuts its attack time in half. The other card I want to go back to is Monstrous Virus. You can only use that card with the purple hero. I'm not going to name names, but there was a player in a tournament that tried to use Monstrous Virus in a green hero. Which you can't use Monstrous Virus with the green hero because it's not purple. You have to use it with a purple hero.
It does say, give your purple elemental hero. Element hero. Oh damn, that sucks if they didn't read the fine print about that.
Yes.
Oh, I feel sorry for that player. But yeah, Devil Trigger, great combo with your Resonates. The Flight and Agility, that's deadly stuff depending on what specific unit you put it on. Specifically, on this unit, Jury, Purple Spider.
Yes. So this card, a lot of people were going nuts when she came out.
Oh yeah.
What she does is she's a 5 MP unit, hits your opponent's face, then you get a card into your EX pocket. It's an Explorer, which is Feng Shui Engine. So Feng Shui Engine is a card that you can use on any of your units, and this one does not care about color, like how we were just talking about Double Trigger.
Oh
you
yeah,
can use this card on any unit of yours, and then you gain a +1/+4. You get new abilities. You get Combo, which is dealing double damage on attacking. You get Spillover, which is kind of like cleave damage. You know, if you deal damage to an enemy unit, then that damage, half of that damage gets spread over to the other lanes.
Yes.
Next to them.
You want to do spillover in the middle. You want to have that for the middle, basically to utilize spillover properly.
Yes, and keep in mind that Combo actually allows you to have double triggers with Spillover, no matter what the health is. If you have Combo and Spillover and you're killing a 1 HP unit, it's going to still go for the full damage that Combo and Spillover would do. So you would get all the damage from that, and then you also get Agility, which, you know, cuts the attack time in half. So you're essentially making a really scary unit every time you play Feng Shui Engine.
Yeah, it is really scary, especially if they just dropped on Jury, so she keeps giving you more Feng Shui engines and they can't stop it. And then plus we do have the Reploid new generation Reploid, so even if Jury does die, if you've at least hit face and explored, you can get Feng Shui engine back into your hand. Yes. Without having to have Jury on the field. So very, very cool and very, very deadly stuff. Alright. Now we move into the card that got nerfed, Ibuki, which we discussed before.
Yes, so with Ibuki, she did get nerfed. She used to be where you can scale her damage every time you played a action, but now you can't scale her damage. But she's still very strong because she can scale her health, which means she can dodge a lot of trading.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about her is they actually gave her 2 more health to compensate for the nerf that they gave her. So instead of having more damage, you actually gain more health. What's really nice about her too is a lot of the purple Resonate players are like, you know, this nerf that they're giving Ibuki is not a nerf, it's actually a buff. And the reason why it's a buff is because as Resonate players, we don't care about how fast we kill you. That's not the goal. The goal for a Resonate player is to lock out the opponent, and the ways you can lock them out is have the opponent play units on their whole field, so they can't play any new cards. If they can't play any new cards, that means that they can't draw.
Yeah.
And normally they get stuck on MP because they can't play any cards, and then you, as the Resonate player, are playing the game by yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
You're basically, yeah, you're just manipulating it so they can't do anything to stop while you've got a unit on the field that has stealth, and you're just bypassing through, and they can't do anything to stop it. So I see what you mean by it's not really a nerf, because you can still play her and to utilize the mechanics of the game to make her still very effective.
Yes, and then I want to get to where it's actually a buff. So the reason why it's a buff is because it used to be when she could scale her damage, anytime a unit would attack into her, they would automatically die, right? Because you would have a very big Ibuki, and then anything that touches it dies.
Yeah.
So now it's in the case where she's only a 3 damage unit at all times, So that means that when your opponent's unit is coming to hit your Ibuki, and if the damage from Ibuki is not killing that unit, then you are okay with them fighting each other, which means that it buys you more time to find into a halt. Because one of the worst case scenarios for a Resonate player is having your opponent's unit die. Because if your opponent's unit die, what happens is they get to play a new card, and then they essentially get to draw a new card and then look for an answer.
Yeah.
So a purple player's goal is to usually, like I said, board lock your opponent, have them play a full field, and then control it down. And Ibuki, you know, it being a buff can allow units to attack into her, and as long as they're not died, then we're fine. That buys you time. That buys you 10 seconds to look for another halt to stop him.
Yeah. No, I get that. Okay, I understand that even better now. Like, just board locking them. Which comes to another card, which we're going to get to very soon. Very, very effective card. So, Ibuki, great choice. Definitely with some setup plays. Next up we have is... man, I love the fact that this deck just run a lot of OG cards here. Devil Hunter Dante.
Yeah, so Devil Hunter Dante is a really strong legendary card. But I wouldn't say it's overpowered. I would say in lower ranks, then yeah, it's a busted card because not everybody's gonna have answers for it. But when it comes into high ranks, you do have a lot of options to take him down. So what he does is you have a 6 MP unit. It's a 3/5. It has agility, but it has a resonate ability, which is all the reason why you run this card. When you resonate, Devil Hunter Dante destroys himself, and then he becomes into a new card.
Becomes Devil Trigger Dante.
Yes. Devil Trigger Dante is a card with 4/7 stats, and then it has agility and flight. So the same time that it takes for one unit to deal damage in 10 seconds, he actually does 8 damage in 10 seconds.
Yeah. So you don't need to really rely on like Ibuki. If you got Dante out and you're able to control the field, you can just have Dante. I've simply lost a game because I couldn't stop Devil Trigger Dante. Simply because, yeah, I board locked myself and they just gave him stealth. They just halted and then that was it. He was just going ham into my life and it's like, well, I can't do anything to stop him now.
Yep.
So he's another effective card. Hi Cinco is still here. No changes, no need, nothing there. It's just great card. It's still a good card. But the major change now, and probably one of the most effective cards in this deck, which I just recently crafted, Surge of Demonic Power.
Surge of Demonic Power is my favorite card of all time. It is also the best legendary in Teppen.
About time I crafted this card, or get it, but yeah. Alright, let's get into this thing, because this card is quite a beaut.
Yeah, so what this card does is, as soon as you play it as an action, it changes the cost of all cards in opponent's hands and your hands to 1 MP cost. So your units, your actions, your opponent's units and actions that are in the hand, they all become into a 1 cost. Now, that is just
ridiculous.
Really strong. Yeah. So what you're betting on is that the cards in your hand are bigger and better threats than the cards that your opponent's hands are. Which, now that we've seen this card played in the meta a lot, that's usually the case for Resonate players, is your cards will always be stronger than your opponent's cards.
Yeah.
But there is a very unforeseen benefit to running Surge of Demonic Power that players didn't realize until after playing it, and that is when you change the cost of your opponent's cards to 1, they actually can only pay 1 MP, and then when they board lock out, since they only paid 1 MP, their hero art is actually very far away from being completed. So say if you're playing against a Shinku Hadoken Ryu, right? Mm-hmm. And you use Surge of Demonic Power, because you change the cost of all their cards, they are very far away from Shinku Hadoken, and then they board lock themselves.
Yeah.
Because that's how it goes.
That works.
Also, because growth is now a popular mechanic and that's very prevalent in the meta, this card is very effective against growth decks because growth requires you to pay MP for your units and then scale the growth points. When you search with demonic power your opponent, they only get 1 growth point per card, period. So they're not getting the growth triggers. And then they just kind of, sit there.
It's basically the best counter to a growth deck, which is pretty much your Neros and your Ryus right now. So this one card is basically the ultimate counter, because I think we saw it in the Japanese qualifiers. It was used in the first match, and the other replay was just like, shit, I'm screwed now.
Yes.
It takes away so much potential out of them, and then you can basically set up to board lock, and then you're in control, and then you just you're just binding your time and just making sure their units don't go anywhere.
Yep. Card is crazy.
Card is crazy. Card is so good. I can't wait to actually start practicing playing this properly now. I haven't bothered to try this out because I'm not going to really play until I get Surge as much as I think I could, but it's like I think I want Surge anyway because Surge kind of just makes a big difference, especially in the starting hand. Alright. Is there anything else we wanted to go on about this?
Probably Brainwash. Wait, I didn't put it in.
That's right, I just realized you don't have brain. Wait, shouldn't one Cinco be out for a Brainwash?
Nah. Okay, I'll get into why I don't play Brainwash.
Okay, why is Brainwash not here? Because I think Brainwash technically should be in here.
Right. So, there are 2 Resonate decks that we know of. Dante Double Trigger, which we just covered. And then the other one is Temptation Morgan.
Don't know if I have one. I may.
My soul is...
I appreciate it.
I was trying out. I have a variation of a Temptation deck here, but it's not final. Don't at me on this one. It's up right now anyway.
So both heroes are very strong. They are definitely Resonate decks that are to be feared. We saw both of them being played in the Japanese 16-man qualifier tournament.
Yeah.
So the difference between Dante Devil Trigger and Morgan Temptation, because they do play some different cards, but they have the same goal.
For your head, that is
that Dante, when you play Dante, he's a very MP spending character. He will always spend MP. That's one of the things about him that makes running Brainwash kind of like anesthetic, is because when you're playing Dante, you actually don't have a lot of chances to gain a large ton of MP. Although you do get to negate, 10 seconds of damage, it's not as good as Morgan. And then with Dante, because your game plan is usually Glass Cannon, because that's what he's very effective with his hero art. His units like Ibuki, Cinco, that he usually plays, because you're going with that strategy, you're constantly spending MP. So you'll never really have enough MP usually to save up for the Brainwash to steal a unit. And if you're going to steal a unit, one of the problems is you would never steal a unit in the middle of a board lock, because you would free up a spot for them, and then it's like, I didn't really need to steal this, and I just gave my opponent like a new card to draw.
Right, so you see Brainwash as sort of it could be a negative effect for you if you're running it.
Yes, I would say it is a negative effect against most decks that are not in the mirror, because there is never a card that you really steal besides maybe Iris, but even then Iris is kind of like
I mean, it's not it's not a bad steal. I mean, I've done it, but yeah.
It's a good steal, but in my opinion, taking out the Brainwash just makes the deck more consistent. Because you already have threats in your deck that you want. there's not really any threats that you want to steal from your opponent. And there's the Iris, while it is a good card, you don't actually need it. So that's why I don't like the Brainwash. Brainwash is good for the mirror though. If you play Brainwash, then you are essentially betting that you're going to play into the mirror and ladder, and then you steal one of the cards, and then that's instant game over.
Yeah.
For the opponent.
Expect to see. I do expect. His deck is pretty prominent online. Maybe Morgan more? I don't know. I would assume Dante. I'm pretty sure I've come across a few Dantes. Actually, no, I don't think I have actually. I've seen just a crap ton of Ryus and Ryu. And the occasional black-green Nerg and some variations of Nero, but yeah. Okay, I can see why you don't run Brainwash, but okay, that's fine. Just realized as well that card was in here, so it actually was bugging me for a bit there, but okay. That's cool. I've got a better understanding of that. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This has been the non-budget version of Devil Trigger Dante. And if you are going to try to build this, get Surge of Demonic Power.
Yes.
Get Surge. I really tried to see if I could pull it, and no. I gave up and crafted it. I just couldn't bother waiting anymore. It's just... it was pretty much the only purple other legendary and I haven't pulled yet, so I was like, I can't be bothered waiting. I'll just craft it. Whatever. Which means I probably still need to craft, I don't know, maybe Ken or something like that. But other than that, I don't think the other legendaries interest me enough as it is.
Which is fine. There's also the selector pack next month, so
yeah.
Save your Zennies. I hope you can spend Zennies on them.
Can't we? Or can we? Could we?
We don't have the detail on that, because, you know, they probably weren't thinking, like, I wonder... Players will wonder if they can spend Zennies on them. So we don't have that detail. But I'm going to assume that we can spend Zennies on them, and that's why I'm saving Zennies currently.
Then I'll probably hang on to my Zennies then. I'll probably hang on to what I've got and then see what I can do. But yeah. Guys, I hope you enjoy this deck. Leave a comment, like, and let us know what you think. I will definitely be practicing. I'll definitely practice this, and I definitely knew I wanted to try to take this into rank. As much as I keep loving trying to grind up with Nergigante and Ryu, I'm just, I really want to try something different. I do want the form of control, so I guess in a way this is what I'm looking for. I just need to start practicing it now, so.
Yes. With Resonate, it's definitely, back in Season 1, people said that this was the deck that required you to have a lot of game mechanic knowledge. Still true even now.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And purple is technically the most expensive when it comes to decks, guys. Just ignore the fact that the shinies in here that I have. I just threw shinies in because I have them. But if you look at this deck very carefully, you've got, what? I think there's 4 legendaries in here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8... 9 epics. I'd say purple is the most consistently expensive deck you can find. Even 4's purple Morgan was bloody expensive as well.
Yep. If you want to play this deck in a budget version, go check out the other video, because you can play this type of deck budget.
Io has done it online ranked and it was perfectly fine. He had fun with it.
I've done it multiple times because a lot of players, you know, want to see it happen. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks to you guys. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoy. We'll be back. Let's see. We've done black, we've done red, we've done purple. We need to do a green here next. And I'm debating, is it Chun or X? And I think the favored would be Chun. Chun Growth, I think the deck is. I'm not sure precisely.
Yes.
Yeah. X, as much as I love X as a character, and I did say this in my testimony video, I do like X, but it's just not good. it's just not consistent. I don't know. As much as I love X, it didn't really pan out as much. But next time we'll jump into Chun-Li, and we'll go from there, guys. But again, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Take care. We'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.